All right, it is time for another NFC East check-in, Eagles fans. I think you're going to like what we are seeing at this time in the NFC East. Because as things currently stand, the Philadelphia Eagles have a very nice 1.5 game lead over the Washington Commanders at a record of 8-2. Obviously, we have the Giants, they're 2-8, they're starting Tommy DeVito, their season is over. The Cowboys, they're starting Cooper Rush, they're 0-5 at home. That offense has no run game, that defense can't stop a nosebleed, their season is over. We are headed into week 12, and the NFC East is officially a two-team race. And just last week on Thursday Night Football, the Philadelphia Eagles at home defeated the Washington Commanders in what, I know the final score was 26-18, felt like a pretty dominant win. The Eagles took over in the second half of that game. Saquon Barkley again shut the door on an opposing team. You gotta love to see it if you are a Birds fan. And the door has kind of been closed, in my opinion, on the Commanders winning the NFC East. Now, obviously, the loss column is where I kind of tend to focus here. Washington 4 losses to Phillies 2 at this point in time. Obviously, Washington hasn't had their bye week yet. Philly's got a couple tough games on their schedule. The Rams, the Ravens, at Washington. But the Commanders are 0-4 this season against teams with a 500 or better record. They're getting healthy off of bad football teams, which is fine. The Commanders are certainly a playoff team. But when I look at the Eagles roster, the way that the defense is producing, the best in the NFL in terms of yards allowed per game, and then I look at the Commanders with a Cliff Kingsbury offense that usually around this time takes a dip in terms of efficiency, falls off a little bit, and compare the rosters just on paper, Philly is a Super Bowl caliber team, whereas Washington feels like a team that could maybe win a playoff game. As an Eagles fan, I am currently loving where we are sitting at in terms of this division. You look at it, net points, the Eagles are plus 80, the Commanders plus 65, point in favor of the Eagles. The Eagles points allowed, 179, and the Commanders 243. Now, Washington, again, has scored more points than the Eagles. I would expect that that gap closes as we continue through the last about 2 months of the season here, because again, Washington's offense was just so hyper efficient to open the season. But as with Cliff Kingsbury offenses happen, sometimes we've seen that kind of trickle down as the season has come to a close, or at least kind of works its way to a close. The Commanders offense hasn't been efficient, especially as they played some tougher teams, whereas Philly has seemingly gotten stronger as the year has gone on. The Eagles are on a 6-game win streak, riding high right now. They have 2 MVP candidates in Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. In terms of odds percentage, I believe this was by Fox Sports, but Jalen Hurts, again, in November, is a top 5 MVP candidate. This is 3 straight years now that Jalen Hurts has been in this discussion. Jalen Hurts could very well find himself being the first quarterback ever to have a 20 passing touchdown, 20 rushing touchdown season. I mean, this is Shohei Ohtani type numbers. What Jalen Hurts is doing as a dual threat quarterback, you could say it's the tush push, but your quarterback ain't doing it if you're not an Eagles fan. Side tangent here. That is one of my least favorite excuses. Jalen Hurts gets all his rushing touchdowns from the brotherly shove and the tush push, and it's like, guys, the play has been known now for about 3 years. If your team had a quarterback with the quad strength to do it and a center who was willing to get low and do it, like, you could pull it off consistently. Nobody does it like Philly. Nobody does it like the Eagles. It's a weapon because of the superb athlete that Jalen Hurts is. Put some respect on his name. Now, again, back to this, back to what we're looking at here in terms of the NFC East checkup. I will say this, you kind of scroll over here and you look at some of these stats too. It really favors Philly at this point in time. Division record 3-0. I can't see a world where the Giants or Cowboys beat the Eagles. So they're going to finish the year in the division 5-1. The Commanders, probably the same if we're being honest. Conference, both of these teams are 5-2. We'll see how that pans out for them schedule-wise. Non-conference, the Eagles are 3-0 against AFC teams. The Commanders 2-2. The Commanders on a 2-game losing streak. The Eagles on a 6-game win streak. Everything at this point in time is coming up. Philly, the path to a division title seems very likely. It feels to me like it's Philly, Detroit. That's where this is all headed in an NFC championship battle. Good for Washington. They get to be a playoff team, but Philly in my eyes, as the clear-cut best team in the NFC East. I want to take a moment to give a shout out to my friends over at Green Gridiron for NFL helmets. You can see here the nice face mask, the sweet design. I got the black Eagles helmet. I kept it in the container because I use it as a little desk decor, but you could use it as desk decor, decoration around the house, a little knickknack for, your TV stand. The gift giving season is almost upon us. If you know an NFL fan, it doesn't even have to be Eagles. They've got all 32 teams, NFL partnered brands. You know that you're getting good quality stuff. Be sure to check out the link in the description. I'll also have it as the pinned comment. But thank you to my friends over at Green Gridiron. Go get you a helmet today. And with being this clear-cut best team in the NFC East, the expectations are obviously high for our Eagles. We expect them to go and win multiple playoff games. I think every Eagles fan is fine with an outcome that it ends with them losing to Detroit or ends with them losing in the Super Bowl. But I think anything before us playing Detroit or anything before a Super Bowl is kind of a letdown at this point. When you look at the NFC landscape, the NFC West teams, only one of them is going to get in. Right now, it's Arizona. As an Eagles fan, no way would it be acceptable for us to lose to any of those teams the way they're playing. No way would it be acceptable to lose to the Falcons the way that they're playing, the Packers. Jordan Love is good for an interception a game. We beat them already this year when our defense wasn't playing its best. Like, it's just Philly and Detroit as the top tier echelon contenders in the NFC at this point in time. I like Philly. I like our roster. I like where we're at in the NFC East. The Birds are in a really good spot right now. I know for some Eagles fans, it's a little scary to get excited, to get hype like this. But I do think we are in a very, very good spot. As always, drop your thoughts in the comment section down below. How do you like where the Eagles are at in the NFC and the NFC East? If you love the Eagles and you aren't subscribed to the channel, hit that button. I'll catch you guys next time. Go Birds.